In previous tutorials, we'll look a little bit on a canvas, and we'll come back to using canvas as we're going more with project and you feel a bit more familiar. Overall, first time when we're going over, don't worry about remember all of the settings. Just kind of remember they around this area, and as you start using, you will get more and more familiar with what they can do and how to manipulate with them your image. Okay, so let's go to import our next network processing. And we kind of covered a little bit before, but this is much more to this. So right here, you'll notice we have our foreground and we have our background. So as foreground, it's mean our image with where automatically will be extracting from the currently green screen. How extraction work or fine tuning we'll do in a key step, but currently we need to add more source files. So as a foreground, Photokey Pro provide a unique and very nice way to using hot folders. So it's meaning if I photoshoot tearing with my camera and I store my images in specific folders, I can enable my hot folder. And you notice right here we have our warnings about this. So let me cancel this. And we can set to the folder, so it will populate those images now in this area from our hot folder. And we'll do in another tutorial when I will enable a link so we can preview. But overall, our images will be appearing. And about this, nicely because they will come up one after another ones, and we can also after select the first one. So for if latest one will automatically selecting and importing our image. We also can import by going through the directly path. We can click on import. We can remove the images, or we can also just drag and drop them to ours. So as we import, there will be appearing more and more of them on the list. So same will apply with the background. But notice on the background we don't have a hot folder because we don't necessarily need it. This is mostly already pre-created, but you can import multiple images. So in import, for example, I can always come drag and drop additional images. And as I import those images, you'll notice they're adding to our list. And you can import JPEG, RAW, TIFF, almost all image formats. And as you import on a site, you'll notice right here it's come up with specific our format type, currently TFF files. And you'll notice also on the bottom we have an additional icon if we want to include these backgrounds in a batch processing. So it's meaning when we include in a batch processing, it will allow us to export same image, for example, in all three backgrounds, so it will save on all three of them. We'll look on a batch when we come closer to export, but it will allow to process very fast images with very nice backgrounds. So let's go back to foreground. So right here we have one image. Let's go drag and drop maybe a couple other images as well for us. Okay, and let's find one more. Okay, I'll just import this one. So you'll notice we have three images. Currently one is selected. So to activate, we just double time click and we'll replace our foreground image with the new one. Okay, you'll notice as we changing, we also have additional options on for our image. And it does tell us what type of format. So CR2, it's a RAW format for the Canon. You can have a Nikon RAW format. It supports multiple of them. Also, you can have a JPEG, TFF, or any other images. On the bottom, you have it unique, so we can preset, and we'll explain what is mean unique later. Same batch processing and export. So we have all of these additional options for each image. Currently, this is directly from camera, so in Canon assign his own numbers. However, if you have images with unique with a specific names, you can always search if you have a very extensive amount of image you imported. And you can also switch to preview, just for example, disable the thumbnails and just going only by the name. For the purpose of tutorials, I will just re-enable with image so we can preview because we won't import it that many. And we don't need currently search because names is all just the numbers and it is Canon type default names. Okay, as we added images to our background and foreground, right here in our batch processing on preview, we don't necessarily need to go over. If I want just cycle, I can always go and cycle directly by pressing arrow key. And you notice how it's changed. Remember, our canvas, it says as a background. So as background is changing, you can see our canvas is changing as well. So, and of course, if I set as a foreground, in this case, background will change without effect. And if I'm going to cycle through our foreground, there will be modifying. So let's go change. Okay, for example, right here we change now one background, another, and you can see it does not change, but our foreground will resizing. Okay, let me go ahead and switch back to background. We're all right in this area. You'll notice we can change background and foreground. And one thing why I'm pointing to this, because in some cases when you inside filters and you want maybe preview how this background or how this will some effect will work, you don't want to switch back to the imports and try to find here. You can going and select it. They also have two options. You can see we can disable enable foreground, background. We can also set as a unique, and we also add to our batch processing we need it from here directly, so without going and selecting in this area. Then one more thing as we look on the work with our imports, as mentioned before, it was different type of preview and samplings as well as a zoom. So right now it's kind of nice ways to look on this. So you'll notice it's a full color. We can all switch to the alpha, and in this case we can preview the alpha. So when we start to work a bit closer, you can see some problems with the mask, so we can rework on this one. Okay, let's go scale back. Okay, and I'm going to switch our background. Let's go switch to this tone map it. We'll switch to full color. And our currently it's coarse sampling, so when we start moving, you can see it's resampling sizing. And mostly it will affect when we start moving around. So let's look a little bit more on the keys in our next tutorial, and reason is why, because you'll see sometimes it's maybe okay key, but in this right here, if you look closer to the pen, you'll notice it's some transparency coming through. So right there, so we need to rework a little bit more on the keys in this case, because it was too much contaminations or backsplash on the colors in this case. So we'll see how we can rework on that.